Over the past year or so, there have been an endless slew of smears against YouTubers and YouTube as a whole. I was subject to many of these smears, where they repeatedly claimed that there was a rabbit hole phenomenon, where if you go on YouTube and watch a video, you will be led down a rabbit hole where you will be radicalized. It was fake news. It's insane to me that this idea of a rabbit hole could even exist when you could simply use common sense to realize no matter what YouTube recommends, and this is for the most part, right? No matter what YouTube recommends, you have to select it. Now, I will admit there is a problem in the autoplay function for babies, and that was nightmarish, that babies would just sit there staring at the screen as whatever played. But this idea of a rabbit hole makes no sense because it implies humans don't think and don't click things. Well, guess what? Now the story is for the most part debunked because legitimate research has come out, not stupid New York Times fake news or an op-ed piece. No, it's a legitimate Penn State political scientist coming out and saying, no, it's actually community building. Yes, duh. Long story short, guess what? People who go on YouTube and then see a video, like you type in immigration, you get a video, you click the video, you go on YouTube, you click videos you like. If you see something that offends your sensibilities, you don't click it. Or if you do it because you don't like it and you give it a thumbs down. This idea that YouTube radicalizes people is so ridiculous because it would make no sense that videos that have massive thumbs downs should never exist because what? How does that make sense? So here's the problem. They're now saying, oh, look at this research. Like the actual research is saying, it's not the rabbit hole. It's that people are building communities and people who like certain subject matter follow those same people. Duh, that makes sense, right? But guess what? YouTube made dramatic changes to the algorithm, to the recommendations that are negatively impacting my channel and many others because of fake news and because YouTube lacks a spine. So if you like this video, please consider sharing it. Yeah. Let's read the story from Wired. Maybe it's not YouTube's algorithm that's radicalizing people. Okay. In a new report, Penn State political scientists say that it's not the recommendation engine, but the communities that form around right-wing content. That's right, good old right-wing Joe Rogan. I love that. Joe Rogan is a borderline socialist. And Jordan Peterson is like a moderate. I don't even know what is, but I love how they have in the same box, Ben Shapiro and Richard Spencer. And Joe Rogan, like, what? Joe Rogan borders on socialist. Ben Shapiro is an Orthodox Jewish conservative, and Richard Spencer is the most prominent white nationalist. These things don't mix. Thank you. Great. Let's read. YouTube is the biggest social media platform in the country, and perhaps the most misunderstood. Over the past few years, the Google-owned platform has become a media powerhouse where political discussions is dominated by right-wing channels offering an ideological alternative to established news outlets. Full stop. Progressive channels exist. The most prominent, the Young Turks Network. Okay, the Young Turks Network is bigger than, say, like Crowder, which is the next biggest political channel. So on its own, I believe Crowder is the biggest, and it's conservative. But to act like right-wing channels dominate, you don't even have research to back that up. You're just looking at right-wing channels and then being like, there's too many. They say, according to new research from Penn State University, these channels are far from fringe. They're the new mainstream and recently surpassed the big three US cable networks in terms of viewership. Yet for some reason, YouTube suppresses us. Yep, that's right. And they're propping up the big three, CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. Surprisingly, they're knocking down the New York Times and ABC News for whatever reason. The paper, written by Penn State political scientists Kevin Munger and Joseph Phillips, tracks the explosive growth of alternative political content on YouTube and calls into question many of the field's established narratives. It challenges the popular school of thought that YouTube's recommendation algorithm is the central factor responsible for radicalizing users and pushing them into a far-right rabbit hole. Perhaps because rabbit hole theory was never legitimate data. It was literally just people saying, hey, I think this thing happens. And then all these news outlets doing no research and saying it was true. And it takes 2 seconds to think about it. That if you get a series of videos in front of you, you're going to move your mouse and pick, guess what? You know what I get recommended all the time? I make political videos. I get recommended Marvel Cinematic Universe theories. That's like all I get. And you know what I do when I don't care about the video? I refresh. and I look for different videos. And then sooner or later, a skateboarding video pops up, and I will click that. It's insane to imply that, well, actually, I'll be fair, right? To a great deal, you will watch what's placed in front of you, okay? So you will see very lowest common denominator content, vlogs and stuff appearing a lot. And if the clickbait is good and strong, you'll click it. But this idea that you can see a video that's got some offensive political statement and you're going to be like, that's what I want to watch, and click it and go, oh no, now I believe it. It's like, dude, people choose what they want to watch and what they're entertained by. That's it, period. And if they choose a video on immigration and YouTube recommends 2 videos, one could say immigration good, one could say immigration bad. What do you think they're going to pick? They're going to choose whichever one affirms their bias. So it could go either way. You see the point? Like, I don't watch videos. The example I often give is that when they talk about this radicalization, imagine you search on YouTube for Superman and you start getting Superman videos. Do you become more extreme in your fandom of Superman? No. Well, why is that? But wouldn't you increasingly see more extreme pro-Superman or anti-Superman content? No, that makes no sense. There's no telling what the subject matter would be in terms of positivity or negativity. They're lying. The authors say the thesis largely grew out of media reports and hasn't been rigorously analyzed. The best prior studies, they say, haven't been able to prove that YouTube's algorithm has any noticeable effect. We think this theory is incomplete and potentially misleading, Munger and Phillips argue in the paper, and we think that it has rapidly gained a place in the center of the study of media and politics on YouTube because it implies an obvious policy solution, one which is flattering to the journalists and academics studying the phenomenon. Instead, the paper suggests that radicalization on YouTube stems from the same factors that persuade people to change their minds in real life, injecting new information, but at scale. The authors say the quantity and popularity of alternative, mostly right-wing political media on YouTube is driven by both supply and demand. The supply has grown because YouTube appeals to right-wing content creators. Not true. That makes no sense. With its low barrier to entry, easy way to make money, and reliance on video, which is easier to create and more impactful than text. Sound is easier to create. Talk radio is easier to do. Podcasts are easier to do. YouTube appeals to Minecraft videos, and if you really want to get promoted, you wouldn't be talking about politics. You'd be talking about Minecraft, like PewDiePie does, and then you might find yourself on the front page of the default YouTube.com, where you will get millions of views and congratulations, be rich. Doing politics is divisive and esoteric. It's insane that we're having an argument about politics when I assure you my videos get very little traction relative to someone talking about a celebrity. Quote, this is attractive for a lone fringe political commentator who can produce enough video content to establish themselves as a major source of media for a fan base of any size, without needing to acquire power or legitimacy by working their way up the corporate media ladder. That's just the internet, dude. So I can respect they're talking about it, but man, you know what bothers me? I cannot stand academics, man. They're just like these nerdy, blind individuals in the corner of the room being like, looking at you as though they're studying an animal instead of going in, actually testing things and being like, what works and what doesn't. I assure you, I have more knowledge about YouTube, its algorithm, what works and what doesn't, in my pinky than all of these researchers have in their whole bodies. They don't understand anything about YouTube. The idea that this is the appropriate place for politics, I've been promoting my podcast. It's way safer. Dude, I get deranked, demonetized, I get my videos restricted, age restricted. If I really, dude, YouTube is just a place where I have found, you know, I make videos and I rant, and I'm actively trying to promote the podcast. Why? The podcast is safer. It grows faster. You have a core audience of fans who choose to watch your content, are more likely to engage. Now, the advantages for YouTube is just that it's like you film my reaction, and I don't know, you know, I gotta be honest. I have no real reason why I would use YouTube. I use Twitter way longer, and I've got nearly 400,000 followers on Twitter. YouTube is just a place for me to put videos. I could easily put them anywhere else, but admittedly, YouTube pays money, right? That's a factor too, for sure. Here's the thing. If you were to take the portion of people on this planet who like certain things, politics is going to be very slim, okay? And in that case, the argument is better made that YouTube appeals to gamers. It appeals to regular people who produce entertainment content because they actively promote it. YouTube actively suppresses this. And that's why I'm always asking for people to share content. Okay, I don't want to rant on this. I really hate talking about this. I didn't want to do a video about it. Ha ha ha, it's very funny they're putting Joe Rogan next to Richard Spencer again. Lauren Southern retired a long time ago. You get the point. I'm sick of this narrative. It's fake news. It's literally fake news, okay? If you go to youtube.com on your own, you're gonna see mainstream content. YouTube is suppressing politics. It is not where you want to be for this. That's why I've got like 60,000 subs on BitChute, because people are actively trying to move over there. I'll leave it there. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.